Bruchim Abayim, Morai Rabotai. I want to thank all of the people who have really made effort to make this a possibility, especially Chacham Eldad and his Rebbetzin, the Rosh Gadolian families, the Teherani families, all of them really working together to make this fantastic minyan, the packed house and the shiur. Yeshalem Hashem secharchem v'gimulchem letova. Amen. Should be a zchut for your family. You know, the best bracha I could give is the bracha that he himself gave. The author of Zera Shimshon was a tremendous Gaon and Mekubal. Harav Shimshon Chaim Nachmani was the Ben Doro shel Or HaChaim HaKadosh, in the same generation of Or HaChaim, was with Chachmei Italia and the Gedolei Sfaradim, and he writes, and I quote, he says, this that you learn in this Sefer, and certainly organizing a shiur in it, will be Merube midat tashlumei chen v'chesed u'shlama rabba min shmaya, will be tremendous payment of chen and chesed and shalom from Shamayim. Ve'enechem tir'ena, and your eyes will see banim ubnei banim kishtile zetim, children, grandchildren, kishtile zetim saviv leshulchanchem, around your tables, chachamim unbonim, wise and learned people, ubatim meleim kol tuv, houses filled with bracha, gam osher gam kavod, both riches and respect and kavod, lo yasufu mizarechem, would not be taken away from your children, and itkayem bachem hem ayiru kevod Hashem hadar elokenu, they will see the glory of Hashem our God, v'nasa nes lagoyim asaf nitche zera Yisrael b'mera b'yamenu amen. So I want to share with you,
Elinor Batzara
should be for
Elinor Batzara
for what?
For Zera Shel Kayama.
It should be a zchut for Zera Shel Kayama, also for Elinor Batzara and Ariel ben Afsaneh as well.
Bracha
And Bracha
Bat Marcel Dina.
Bat Marcel Dina.
Amen.
Amen. Keni Ratzon. So I want to share with you, I'm going to have Zera Shimshon pick one of the drashot Be'ezrat Hashem and explain it, but it's going to be Tosefet Merubeh, a lot of my own addition and explanations. So not sure how many percent of Zera Shimshon mixed with Zera Shlomo. We a lot of both of them there to hopefully have something beautiful and something practical that we could take home. So in Derush Bet on Parasha Lech Lecha, the upcoming Parasha, we have the introduction to Avraham Avinu. The introduction to Avraham Avinu, who becomes the progenitor of Am Yisrael. We still, up to today, Bechachot Min, Avraham Avinu is this stamp. We have Yitzchak Avinu, we have Yaakov Avinu, we have Moshe Rabbeinu, we have tremendous figures in the Jewish history. But when you say the Beracha Avot every Shemona Esrei 3 times, 3 times a day, you say Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov. But at the end of the day, the bracha that you end up with, the stamp of our fatherhood, is Baruch Atah Hashem Magen Avraham. Bechachot Mim. Avraham became the stamp of a Jewish nation, even though that he is much more than the father of Jewish nation. He was called Av Hamon Goyim Netaticha. He became the father of humanity. He kind of like filled the role in the shoes of Adam HaRishon after Adam messed up. Then Noach became a second option. Noach messed up, right? And Avraham Avinu is the one that really took the mantle of humanity, like the language of Chazal, Ba'Avraham v'natal schar kulam. Avraham came and took all of the opportunities that was hanging and hinging for 20 generations since Adam HaRishon. He was the one that really took the mantle of humanity on his own, and he became the father of humanity, but certainly, most practically speaking, he became the father of Am Yisrael. Magen Avraham, he's our father. Whereas really Yaakov is our father, but Avraham is our father. What is the secret of Avraham? What is so special about Avraham? Yaakov was a bigger Tamei Chacham than Avraham. Abraham had a child that was off the D, was off derech. He became Ishmael. He had a grandson that became Esav, Parasha. Yaakov Avinu didn't have all 12 Shvatim. Tremendous. What's wrong with Yaakov? Why Abraham? What's the secret of Abraham? Right? Abraham, who does HaKadosh Baruch Hu love? Abraham or Avi? Hashem calls Abraham, I love my beloved one. Hashem loves Abraham. Right? Doesn't say that about Yaakov. Yaakov was a tremendous person, but doesn't say that about Yaakov. There's a pasuk in the Torah that Hashem says, I cannot possibly cover something that I want to decide to do in my world from this person. Can you imagine that? Who is that person? Avraham Avinu. It's upcoming Parasha. Can I possibly cover anything I want to do in my world from Avraham? He's my partner in the creation. Can you imagine? It's like two partners. Hashem says, Avraham Avinu is my partner. I can't decide to do something with the world without telling Avraham, because it's our world. Can you imagine? It's not said about Moshe Rabbeinu. It's not said about anybody. Avraham. And Avraham was not the biggest Talmid Chacham in his generation. Even in his own generation, he was not the biggest. How do we know? Maran Shulchan Aruch writes this, by the way. He writes it in his Perush and Rambam. In Kesef Mishneh, Maran asks a question. I'll paraphrase it the way the Khatam Sofer writes. Khatam Sofer says the same thing. Rabbi Moshe Sofer, the holy Khatam Sofer, writes in his preface to his Tshuvot and Yoreh De'ah, Tshuvot Khatam Sofer and Yoreh De'ah, he has a pamphlet that he wrote as the preface to Tshuvot called Pituchei Chotam. In it he writes, he says Avraham Avinu was not as big as Shem or Ever, right? The son and the great-grandson of Noah. They were bigger Nevi'im and bigger Talmidei Hachamim than Avraham Avinu. How do I know? Because when we have the story of Rivka that couldn't have peace with herself when she was carrying twins and she didn't know. And when she passed by Bet Midrash, she came to KBT, started kicking, right? And then it went to Bet Avodah Zarah, went next to Sinai Temple, started kicking again, right? Or church, same thing, right? Started kicking. And she was and she went to who? She could have gone to Avraham Avinu. She didn't go to Avraham Avinu. She goes to Shem ve'ever. Says the Khatam Sofer, because Shem ve'ever were a bigger Talmid Chacham, a bigger Navi than Avraham. So why, says the Khatam Sofer, why did Avraham Avinu get to be the person, to be the progenitor of Yiddish, of Jewish people in the world? When was the last time that we are all children of Shem, right? Anti-Semite, right? Anti-Shemiyut, anti-Semite. I mean, we're all children. When was the last time you introduced yourself as the son of Shem? Ever? No, we don't do that stuff. Why? Because we don't identify with Shem, nor with Ever, nor with Noach, nor with anybody. We are children of Avraham. So I want to explain to you why, and base it on what he writes here, but much more. Now, Avraham Avinu was considered, even by people who did not follow him, as Nesi Elohim Ata Betochenu. We're going to have that. When he goes to bury his beloved wife Sarah, the Bnei Het, who've never seen him before, but they have heard of him, they say, whatever you want, we give you, because Nesi Elohim Ata Betochenu. You are the ambassador of God amongst us. So whatever you want, we will give you. Can you imagine? A person that you've never seen, you deal with him like that. That's Avraham Avinu. And why is that? I think the secret of that is mentioned in the beginning of the week's Parasha. It says, Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimolatecha u'mebet avicha el haaretz asher areika. Go to the land that I'm going to show you. Ve'ezcha legoy gadol ve'ashbacha ve'eh beracha. I give you a blessing. Tremendous, right? Now, the wording does not necessarily make sense, because if you are going out of your father's house and your city and your country, what order do you usually mention that? Exactly like what I said. You leave your house, then you leave your city, and then you leave, right? You leave Fico Robertson, then you leave Los Angeles, then you leave California. Right? You don't tell someone, please come out of California and also come out of Los Angeles and also come out of your father's house. You don't talk like that. Right? Because of course, when you're out of California, hopefully you're out of your father's house as well. But yet, the pasuk says, Lech lecha me'artzecha, leave your country, u'mimolatecha, from your city, birthplace, u'mibet avicha. Why? Because it's not talking about a physical exodus. It's not talking about exiting the physical parameters of his house. But he's telling him, I want you to become your own person. I want you to become your own person. This is something that I say in seminars for chinuch habanim. Say every parent should want to have a lech lecha for their children. Go. Become your own person. Leave your father's house. I want to see that you can stand on your own and stand for something in your life. Not just be a follower. I want you to have values that are important to you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, I want you to leave your birthplace, your father's mentality, your everything. I want you to build a new thing. El haaretz asher areika. And Avraham Avinu's power was lays in mamash in this. Avraham's nickname is what? Avraham, help me. Ha'ivri. What does that mean? Says Rashi, says Chazal, Shekol ha'olam be'ever echad ve'Avraham be'ever echad. The whole world was on one side, and Avraham Avinu was on the other side. Completely different. Now, can you imagine to yourself? You're dealing, let's call it just 10,000 people. You have 10,000 people, they all say one thing, and you say completely different. Right? Yale University had a research. They put, everyone was on this study, they knew it, but aside from one student, right? The professor was to draw two lines on the board, one of them 10 inches, one of them 12 inches, right? A little far apart. And ask the class which one is longer, and everyone was to point out to the one that was shorter, the 10-inch one, and say this is longer. And they wanted to know if the one batbach that was there that didn't know that this is a research, right? What is he gonna say? And 90, I don't remember, 7, 8, I don't remember exactly, percent of time, almost 100%. The guy was drawn after them, so of course, yeah, that's longer. Gave in. Even though that if you would ask him 100 times out of 100, he would say this is longer. But we don't have the backbone to stand and speak for ourselves. And Avraham Avinu was that person that said, all of you doing Avodah Zarah, you're all making a mistake. To figure out God on his own. We say Avraham Avinu was the first one to believe in Hashem. He was not. Of course, there's Shem, Ever, all the people who believed it. But he was the first one that nobody told him that there is God. His father was a manufacturer of idols. A wholesaler of idols. That's what his father was. Nobody believed in Hashem in his surrounding, in his city. Yeah, Hashem and Ever, in where they were, they had the yeshiva. He came to this conclusion on his own. And once he did, you couldn't bend him. You could not bend him. The Ur Kasdim was the place that he was in. Nimrod was the king of Ur Kasdim. Nimrod was a tremendously wicked person. Right? And some people in Eretz Yisrael, they call their kids Nimrod. Where did you get that from, right? Nimrod is not a good person. Nimrod himrid et kol ha'olam neged HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He made everyone, rebel against Hashem. Now you had Avraham and Nimrod, two kotevs, two different poles of the world, right? And Avraham is a young person. By the way, what day did Nimrod get killed? The day that Avraham Avinu passed away. That's the day that Esav killed him, right? And Esav, the whole story of Yaakov. Yaakov was making Nazid Adashim because it was Avelut of Avraham, because Avraham Avinu died that day. The moment you don't have Avraham, Nimrod is going to die. Because they are there to oppose each other. And he said, I'll kill you. He said, kill me. How do you want to kill me? Do it. I'm going to throw you in Kivshanash. Do it. And he's young. You can't bend the guy. You can't bend him. That's Avraham Avinu. A person that carries his values with a pride that you've never seen before. Have you ever asked yourself, Avraham Avinu was a single person with his wife, Sarah, right? A one-man show, and he brought tens of thousands of people under the fold of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? The numbers you see for Chazal is unbelievable. When was the last time you saw a Kiruv expert that does such a hatzlacha without broadcasting, without recording, without videos, nothing? Right? The most successful Eisha Torah ever, right? It's amazing. What was his secret? Noach, for 120 years, is building a teva, and there's a scare. Says the world is going to come to an end. You're going to die, right? You're going to be doomed. And not no one. How many people did he bring under his fold after 120 years? How many? Zero. Only his own family. And Avraham Avinu, you see him, you want to be like him. Why? You know why? Because Noach was not sure of himself. Chazal say Noach miketane amanaya. Even when it started raining for Mabul, he waited until the water came up. So, fine, I guess he's coming. So he goes in. No, of course, was Ish Sadiq Tamim, thousands of times bigger than us. But that certainty, Avraham Avinu was like a mountain. Esai Na'ir Harim, Chazal say means mountains is Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak Yaakov, Avot. He was so confident that it was contagious. When you came in contact with him, it was contagious. You wanted to be like him. Because you can't bend him. A person that has values in life that you cannot sell, you cannot buy, you cannot bend. That person has a gravitas to him like nothing else in the world. And that's Avraham Avinu. And the Midrash says, on Lech Lecha, he says, this is a reference to the pasuk in Shir Hashirim Perek Chet that says, Achot lanu ketana, v'shadayim en la. We have a sister, a little sister, and doesn't have the ability of being nursed or nursing. What do we do when we're going to be speaking about her? Right? And the pasuk says, Im chomahi nivne ala atirat kasef. If it's a wall, we will make a beautiful thing out of kesef, out of silver for it. Ve'im delet, and if it's a door, a wooden door, not surada al ruach aris. They will make a wooden plank for it, right? What does that mean? Midrash says this is talking about Avraham Avinu. Achot lanu ketana ze Avraham. It's talking about, what's Avraham? She'icha, that he connected the whole world together. He brought all the people. We just explained it. Now you understand. The goyim say, everyone wants to be like him. Everyone wants to be connected with him. Everybody. Regardless of if you were successful, ger or not, doesn't make a difference. Avraham Avinu, icha et ha'olam. He brought everyone together. Now what's his koach? His koach is, well, he was not mitzvah b'mitzvot, right? He was not commanded the mitzvot. Avraham Avinu, the Gemara says in Yuma, that he kept all of the mitzvot, right? Avraham Avinu kept all of the Taryag mitzvot, even, according to some, even mitzvot the Rabbanan, like Eruveh eruvet tafshilin, he kept. This is a Gemara in Yuma, right? Daf Kaf Chet, on page 28. Even though that he was not mitzuveh, he kept it. But because a person that's mitzuveh is a bigger mitzvah, the Gemara says in Kiddushin, Daf Lamed Aleph, on page 31, that when you are commanded to do a mitzvah, is a bigger mitzvah. It's a much bigger mitzvah when you're commanded. Because you have Yetzer Hara to tell you, no, don't do it, right? That's why Hashem was concerned. Maybe he's going to do, maybe he's not going to do, even though that really, all of the Bnei Noach, you see Rambam in Halchot Melachim, in Perek Tet, Halacha Aleph, he says that Adam HaRishon already was commanded on Avodah Zarah. You can't do Avodah Zarah, you have to believe in Hashem. But nevertheless, however you understand this, Hashem was worried. Is it going to be like a wall that stands strong when they want to throw him and test it? The first test that he had was this that we mentioned. Nimrod wanted to kill him. He was a young guy, right? He was a revolutionary, Kiruv guy. And he said, you're making a mistake. Avodah Zarah, it's bogus. Hashem, God, monotheist thing. Nimrod said, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to finish you once and for all. I said, do it. But Hashem was worried. He said, what's going to happen? Is he going to stand or is he not going to stand? And Shadaim Ella, he had nobody supporting him. Nobody taught him anything. It's not like his father said, I'm going to support you in the kollel, go do it. He had nobody to support him. It was alone, period. Nobody taught him any of these things. And Hashem says, let me see what happens. Is he going to be like a wall, or is he going to be like a delit? Like a door opens this way, opens that way, with the wind, depending on the pressure, how much money, how much this, how much kavod. We bend, Everyone has a price, so to speak. Chas v'shalom. Avraham Avinu had no price. I mentioned this IBM thing that Bill Gates, they wanted to have like a thing, and this Jewish guy that had the tiger thing to present, an amazing thing, and they hired him. He said, fine, I'm coming. And then he checked on his calendar. He said, it's Shabbat. He called back, he said, I'm not coming. So they thought he is just being Jewish, and he wants more money. I said, okay, we double the pay. So not coming. Triple the pay, no. Quadruple the pay, no. Not coming. Why? He crazy? He said, no, it's Shabbat. Shabbat, I'm not coming. So the guy got upset with him, he hung up the phone on him. So he's driving with Bill Gates, and he tells him, he says, this guy is crazy, nuts. Like, we couldn't pay him enough. So why? It's Shabbat. I said, really? So change the date. We're going to change the whole thing of IBM because of it. Why? He said, because if you have somebody that has something that money cannot buy, I want that person. You have a value that money cannot buy, that you don't bend, I want that person. I want that person. That's Avraham Avinu. You can't bend. It's not a door. You can't open it. It's a wall. It's a brick wall. Every person has to have those values that people can't bend. It's your shiur versus going to a wedding. Which one do you do? Right? Do you have things that money cannot buy? That regardless, it's not going to bend. To the degree that we have those types of values, to that degree we are sons of Avraham Avinu. Avraham HaIvri. That the whole world could be on one side. The whole world could be giving you thumbs down. And you still do your thing because you believe in it. You have to stand for something in life. I say this often, as many times as I could fit it in. When we drive with my kids, we love reading bumper stickers, right? Love reading bumper stickers and explain them, whatever. The one that I have no patience for, I hate, is the coexist. You know what coexist? They have like the Israeli, like the Magen David together with Hamas, and the cross, and this, and the... I tell my kids, I'm like, this is the most meaningless, ridiculous thing, because they can't coexist. They can't. They are diametrically opposed and mutually exclusive. You can't have that. And if you stand for everything, that means that you stand for nothing. You have to stand for something. You can't be standing for everything, because that's meaningless. A person has to develop those muscles of saying, this is against my thing. I want examples? I give you examples. I don't bring my phone to my family dinner. I don't bring the phone to the shul. It's against what I stand for. It's not my standard, right? When I'm talking to my wife or to my husband, I'm looking them in the eye. I'm not like looking at the phone or just daydreaming. When I talk to my kids, I spend an hour, 20 minutes with every kid every night. It's my value. I go to a shiur in the morning. I daven b'tzibur, right? I go to one shul. I don't shul hop, because you have to have a set place, a set rav, a set. So values for me, right? You could make 1,000 examples for yourselves. Whatever it is, doesn't have to be these that I said. But whatever it is, do you bend or do you not bend? Lech Lecha, we want all of our children to be Lech Lecha me'artzecha. At some point we want them to be mibet avicha, to stand on their own and to be their own people who you cannot bend. But it has to start from that chinuch of realizing that we are children of Avraham Avinu, more so than Moshe Rabbeinu, more so than Yaakov Avinu. Bechachot min, we end with Magen Avraham. We identify with Avraham. Every Ger Tzedek identifies with Avraham. Every Goy is Av Hamon Goyim, is Ben Avraham. Because that is what Avraham Avinu had that nobody else had. And we identify with that. And Bezrat Hashem, through that we should be Zocheh, to be Am Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks and says, Avdi Ata Yisrael, Asher Becha Et Pa'er. You're my servant that I am proud of. Amen.